You got some by now?
Mark, it's literally just gone up. We've just received it. Seymour.
Hello, Seymour. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Another Wednesday. It is 28th today of February. We're not a leap year this year, are we?
Right, you might want to pause that.
Why?
We're in March.
Oh, right. I'm out a month. All right. Definitely not a leap year. We'll refresh that. It's the 28th of March. God. Damn, that means I got, okay, all right.
Never mind.
Right, so, yeah, 28th of March. Right, what are we doing today? I haven't bought anything really this week, not of any great interest, but I did start, both myself and Neil, we're going to start a build for the new channel Misfits +1. And Neil has picked 5 kits to start because of his bipolar, so you know he's got to do 5. I'm just going to do 1. That's all I can manage. But I have picked I was going to start and I'll just show you. It's the HMS Victory. So it's you can't see in there, but I've painted all the deck, and I've done all the oak beams inside. So I've put these bags over to prevent the spray from going in there, because there's all sort of windows cut out there, and all the spray will go in and damage all the work I've done. So I've done a little bit of research, and the hull on the HMS Victory is actually copper. So I looked into it a bit more, because my first thought was, well, copper, when it's been in water for a while, it goes that greeny colour.
Scale model, same model, yeah. Sprue.
So sorry, I just got a message there from Neil that I was just reading. Neil's been busy, so he hasn't been able to come on today. But hopefully we'll start coming on the show a little bit more. You know, we've got so let me just carry on with this before I diverse anywhere else. Yeah, so the first thought was it's going to be a little bit green, because copper goes that greeny colour. But then I had a look, and I discovered that most of the holes on the pictures of the HMS Victory are in fact copper. There's no sort of green staining on it. So I've had a look around, and I'm going to sort of do a base colour of a light copper. I had to order that in because I had no light copper to cover the hull in. And then I'm going to do the individual detail on this Airfix kit for the hull is quite exceptional, really. I don't know if you can, if we come in really close. There we go. I mean, look at that. That is, so I intend to do various different tones across the hull. So there'll be a bit of a, I don't know how best to explain it, but I think it will look nice. That's the plan. So as I said, we're both going to do some kits. That's what I chose to do. Neil chose 5. A rather impressive BMW an early BMW 1/12 scale, I believe it is. You would have to go and look on his channel. So you could probably find his builds on Misfits Plus One, and also he's got his other channel, which is NHM Models. Yeah, NHM Models, NHM Scale Models. That's it. So yeah, so pop and have a look at them. Pop and have a look at Misfits Plus One. That's our new channel. We're really trying, you know, we want to do things differently a bit. Make it a channel, we've said this before, that's run by the members. That's our big thing. When we announced it, we sort of said there was, you know, we've emphasis on sort of mental health, and yeah, we wanted to just point out that yes, we do want to, you know, it's a group that just a group for everyone. It's not just a group for people with mental health issues. That was just an example that you know, that the sort of people that can come in. I don't want everyone to think that it's just a group for people with mental health issues. That is, it's complicated, because while we want to cater for that, I don't want everyone to think that's just what it is. We want people from all backgrounds to come in. You know, yeah,
style and every need.
Yeah, Angela's right. Every style, every race, every color, every creed, every religion. We just absolutely across the board. There is no. Yeah, there's no.
Even for people that get the date wrong.
Yeah, even people that can't think properly and get the date wrong, they're welcome as well. So it's not. We want it to be as friendly as possible, really. We've already stressed there's not a list of rules. We're not going to sit at the top as governors, and that. The main thing is we have to be realistic. Every group does need somebody to steer it, otherwise it would just be chaos. But we want to involve the members as much as possible in everything we do. So, for example, when we come to do live shows, we would, you know, members can come on. They don't have to wait to be invited. They can just, you know, send an email, send a private message to either myself or Neil. You know, can I go on the, you know, live show this week when, you know, when we do it? Fine, you know, we'll sort something out. Everyone's going to get to go in. If you've got an idea one week for maybe for the show, you've got a subject that you're passionate about and you want to give a little talk or something on it, fair enough. Step forward. You know, it's your group as much as it is ours. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to aim to do, so that everybody can feel proud that they are part of something. And I don't really know how else to explain it. Unfortunately, Neil hasn't been able to make it. So anyway, I hope that has helped clear some issues up. Not that we really had any, but I think it was more we were thinking about it in the background, and we were a bit worried that we might have labelled the group wrong, and people may have thought of it as a support group rather than a modelling group. And that, I'll put my hand up to that. I made, like, you know, one of the tags I put for the group was support. So we've since changed some of them tags now, I believe, and some of the descriptions have changed as well. Anyway, so that's my build, and you know, I'll be putting pictures of that up. Also, we've got in the Misfits group, we've got albums going up for all the different builds. If you want your own personal album, not a problem, we'll get that sorted. If you just want to drop your pictures into a generic album like cars, ships, planes, then we can sort that out. Or I don't know if members can do that straight off the bat. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. So there we go. So that's the HMS Victory. Now then, there's nothing else. There's no news really that I can think of this week that's happened. I have had a bit of a hectic week in that I've been asleep most of it. I don't know what's been going on. I've just I've been unable to stay awake. It's been awful, really has. So, but anyway.
You're awake now?
Yes, I'm awake now. So we finished off last week. We'd more or less got the X-Wing built. And oh, I'll stick it on my fingers. We'd more or less got the X-Wing built. And all I had to do, as I recall, was put the landing gears on. And look, it hasn't been done. But it did get done. It got done. And then in the last minute, I had a bit of an epiphany. I'm sat looking at it. I think last night it was all complete. And I sat looking at it. And the first thing I thought, if you remember, we done last week, we done this candy type, budget candy type finish. And on the emblem that goes on the control unit. And I really liked that. I thought it was really something quite special. So I'm looking at the X-Wing, and it's got red flashes, red plastic there, along there, in here. And I thought that it would look a lot better if they too were done in that fashion, rather than the bland matte red that they were. So yesterday I took them, primed them in UMP black gloss, let that dry and cure. Time was against me, so none of them got really enough time, I don't think. The primer got the best, and then I used a super metallic silver, and then I went over with Tamiya clear red, and we've got this beautiful red color there. It's coming over a bit orangey on that, but now I think that will look far nicer. So I done them, and then I'm looking at the disassembled X-Wing, and it also occurs to me that I don't like the plastic landing gear. Now the landing gear is made of this metallic color of plastic. It's like a grey metallic color there. So I took these and I repainted them, and I've got a lovely you just look at that. Look at the, isn't that much better? That's beautiful. Beautiful metal finish on that. And I've done both the landing gears, you know. Can we get it? And I think they look much better. So now, and this is the worrying bit, I have to reassemble them. But the thing is, when I was taking things apart, I just pulled things off. And now I've actually got to put them back in their proper places. And I'm not sure how that's going to go. I should have been a bit more careful.
One way or the other.
I nearly snapped a piece because they're all interlocking. That's the trouble. It doesn't just pop on. One bit pops on and then another bit pops on over the top to hold that in. So I'm just taking the blue tack off of there, and we can see on the bases of because I haven't done the underneath there. I've lost a bit. So we've got the nice shine on that side, and that's what they were basically underneath, that dull red you can see in the center. And then if we pop one alongside, it's hard, it's incredibly difficult to do this camera when you're looking at the screen. So hopefully, I'll just take the blue tack off. Now these only got painted not too long ago, but I needed them for the show tonight. And if they are not ready, then I've got a problem because I've got nothing else planned to show anyone. Now, while I remember the announcement about there may be next week, there may be no show purely because we're coming to decorate. Angela's got to decorate, and
we're coming to decorate.
Yeah, I should say you are going to be decorating, and a lot of my kit has to be moved. So there's quite a big possibility that there won't be anything set up to do a live show. But I will let everyone know either Tuesday or the Wednesday sort of afternoon or Wednesday morning. I'll try and let everyone know as soon as possible what's going to happen. Right, so that's not all. Then that is not
Dr.
the.
Sprue said the model is looking really nice.
Thank you. There is of all these bits as well. So I really did do a number on it. But last night, I love these. I made such a good job of them. I'm so pleased. Apologies for the dog. No decals on it yet. So the helmet has decals on, and so do the goggles. There we go. And just come into focus.
Seymour said, I've got to paint round you.
Yeah.
That's not possible.
And then we've got the back. And I'm so pleased with how they came out, because I was looking at them on the sprue. Sorry for the dog. He just doesn't listen. And I was dreading doing them because there's quite a bit of detail on such a tiny little figure. I have been getting practice on figures lately, but this is the first time I've used some of them practices in. Let me put it that way, because I've got to remember a lot of the time apparently it's upside down. And then there's the pilot. They both have decals to go on to finish them off. But I'm very pleased with them, very pleased. So that's the figures. So let's start reassembling So let's put let's get these legs on first. And we've got some feet to go on. I just need to find them. That is one possibly, and that is one.
I said the little dude looks good. Not around to doing these figures yet.
Oh yeah, it was what, Seymour's not done figures yet, did you say?
He said yours looks good. Not around to doing figures yet.
Yeah, it's I've had so much enjoyment out of painting figures. I really do.
Out in the face.
Well, this is the thing. The other night, I don't have I still got him round here. Many of you will have been following or will have seen that I painted Russell Crowe. I'm just trying to. So, and many of you will know I was having problems with his face. So I decided that I was going to attempt to use oils, and in particular, I used the MIG Ammo oil brushes because in this I've got the whole set from the first release, and in that set there are three basic colors of flesh. You've got basic flesh, light flesh, and I believe it's sunny flesh, and they're your three skin tones. And so I started using them, and I was getting nowhere. I was banging my head off the wall, not literally, but it was very poor. I was causing more problems than I was fixing. So it was quite late at night, and I saw that my friend Gilbert Mondragon, he had a hangout going, as he does every night. For those of you that can't sleep or have insomnia, I believe he has a hangout that's open to pretty much everyone, as long as you've got a webcam and a mic, and you common sense, because it's his channel. That no, don't go in there swearing and things like that, because that wouldn't be fair. And I went in there, and I'm sat painting for a bit, and Gilbert says, I thought you'd finished that. So I told him, I said it's been done, undone. And I told him I was having trouble with the oils. So he gave me a little instruction on how best to use the oils. And everything just fell into place. Everything just clicked. And the finished result was... if we're going to get there we go, much better. I managed to get the skin tone a lot better. I managed to get a little bit of a very slight hint of pink on the cheeks, which I then moved moved it just around slightly. See if I can get in closer. I filled out the beard a bit. Everyone had said about the beard not being very full, so I filled that out, and I added some extra tones in the hair. Just there's a light tone of brown in there. I tried to get in so that it's like a very, very dark brown, and just mix that up a little bit. I also went over the wolf a bit more and added a stronger sort of brown to that coat, that pelt he's wearing, and ultimately I'm now safe. I can call him finished because I'm happy with how he is now, and I thank Gil tremendously for the pointers he's given me, and the advice and assistance I've had from him has been first class. He really has helped me a lot with my painting, my figure painting. So I put that down. That squarely lined me up for doing such a good job on these. I don't think if I'd have not had you know, my little chats with Gil and the little text messages that he would send me offering advice, this chap wouldn't be looking like this now. He would be a complete mess. But you know, that is learning, and I you know, it's been so quick to pick it up. You know, all you need is know the right things to do, and I think pretty much anyone can do this. I've still a ways to go. Don't you know? I'm not saying don't go away with the opinion that I'm a master figure painter. No, I've done a face. Let's get it right. I've just painted a face. There's so much more to learn, and but when you do, when you reach an achievement like that, it's huge to you personally. When you've been trying to paint faces on figures for 2.5 years and it's just been a disaster, and then all of a sudden, you know, all the skills you've learned slowly get a little bit better every week. Every time you paint a figure, it's a touch better, and then somebody gives you the final piece of the puzzle and it all comes together. Then it feels like a massive achievement. It really does feel like you've achieved something special, and that's exactly what I want Misfits to be like. I want people to come in and learn modeling skills alongside us, because we're not. I'm not brilliant at all by any stretch, and it's going to be a great thing. So anyway, I'm rambling again. So we've got the landing gear on at the back there. So it looks really quite smart. A lot better than the dull sort of metallic plastic. The only trouble now is I'm thinking of all these other things that I could paint on it. I've got to remember which way that goes. Because there's one way it doesn't fit in right. Right, that's that. And then we're missing one foot, and that has to be that one. So that's going on there, and then we'll put the gear doors on. Don't need that piece. We don't need that piece. That's a spare R2D2 head. Canopy. Now then, gear bay doors are already on the back ones. That's one of the front. Don't need that. And that's the other one. Now again, these will only actually go on one way. Like that. Put that in there, and that's the base. Oh no, forgot the there we go. And that one there. and she's standing on her own feet, assuming that that is actually a female X-wing. Right, so let's start getting the other sections on. These can go on straight away because they don't want to go on there for some reason. Maybe that belongs to a different section. There we go, that one goes on there. And there we go, another one on there. Yes, that looks much better. Much better than the there. And there, right. Need to move that out of the way because that goes on the base of the right. Now it's getting these together in the right section, so that pops in there, and that is now this, I believe, no, this isn't. One of these is the one I broke. Let's have a look. Nearly put that in the wrong way then. Well, it wouldn't have gone in, but there we go. Let's pop that in there. And this is the one that nearly broke. But I did manage to piece it back together and glue it to, well, I glued it together. It's a bit of a tight fit because it's been resprayed, as it were, because the engineering on them is exceptional. So when you think you start adding a couple of thin layers of paint on, and no, it doesn't seem a lot, but the tolerances are so close that it really does make a huge difference to the kit. Now then, I'm not sure on the order that these go in, so I'm just going to pop that on there. Think does that go on like that? I think that must go that way. Yeah, that goes on there. Running out, and we've got that, the canopy, the surround, the front of the nose cone, and that's the so we've got an R2-D2 in here, and I didn't realize that they supply you with two. There's one here for that you can have standing by the, well, that's going to be Right. And these have got tiny little decals that go all over these, so that once they're put together, they really do look like a miniature version of the real thing, which is obviously what scale modeling is about. Right, so that one's stuck together quite a lot. So what I'm going to try and do is, if I've got something tapered that will go through that hole, I need something quite thin, really, just to no, that's not going to work. Let me a pair of old tweezers. Let's get a pair of old tweezers on the go. Right, just put them in there. There we go. Easy peasy. And then that goes on there because they're R2-D2's legs. And then we pop his the dog's off again. And the nose. Front of canopies there that we're not going to use, so let me put that down there. So, where is somewhere? There's his head. There's his head. Sanding stick. Got to be careful because there's a fine bit of detail on the head. I'll show you in a second on his dome. And there's tiny little decals to go on here yet. Let me see if I can. Well, what have I done with the tweezers? Oh well. Let me try and put it sideways if I can. No. There you go. So you get the idea. And I think I have to paint the top silver, and I think the blue is decals. I'm not certain, but anyway, there's his body built up. I never got around to painting him. Obviously, they'll be finished when they get their decals on. So he can be stood next to the X-wing, and then we've got one guy that can be stood. He might be going off to his other X-wing. And then we'll have one guy that's going to be our pilot, and he will be sat in there. That's assuming I can get him in the cockpit now. It might have been a case that you had to put him in. Yes, it's looking as though that might not be. Oh well, if that's the case, he can be sat, you know, side saddle. There he is. Getting out, ready to jump off. I don't know. There. Anyway, right, so let's pop this section on here. Yep, that's right. And then I believe it's the front goes on there, and then finally that front. No, not that way. That front nose on there. And now we're bringing in the, that's come off there. At least it's a snap on. it's a snap-on kit, so we don't have to worry about glue. There's just one falling off there. Right, and now we're going to put this on first. All right, there, yeah. And this on. Not sure if that's right or not. Does that go that way? I think that's more likely. Oh, wrong way. Trying to put it on upside down. Of course, we have weathered the cockpit already. We've done that in the early stages. And then we come along and we drop our cockpit in there, which may need a bit of tiny bit of PVA just to tack it down one side because it's just popping up slightly. I can look at that later. And there we have it. So now it is fully built after all that time and many sort of errors, mistakes, if you like, and it's finally together. So well, apart from the cockpit, we're going to weather this now. I'm not going to go overboard on it. Now they're generally, if they've been hit with blaster fire, they've got smoke and that all over them. I want this to be a fairly new model. It's gonna have some light weathering is what I'm going for. So there'll be a bit of smoke around the end of the laser guns, maybe. There will be, we're going to go over and put a wash over the rest of it. And, you know, things like that. Now, disclaimer, I am not very good at weathering. I've said this before. We're not going to be doing the weathering this week because, first of all, I've got the decals I've got to go on. Once the decals are on, then I'll do the weathering.
You're only as good as you think you are.
Yeah, so let's just take a minute just to look at yeah, that I'm really pleased that I went with the choice of that red color instead of the red that came with the kit. Perhaps I should have gone with the yellow on the metallic yellow along the top there.
Don't overthink it.
Mm.
You have that problem. You overthink things.
So, and then the landing gears look very nice.
Seymour wants to know, are you going to gloss it first?
Before I decal it or before I weather it? If he's on about decaling, no, I should just decal straight now as it is. I should start, well, I should probably start in a minute. Weathering, I will put a coat over it.
Weather.
Yeah, I should probably put something over it just to protect it. But then I will come back after I've weathered it and dull it down if needed, if it needs it. Yeah, that's looking really nice. So there it is. Finally, it's done, and let's turn our attention to the decaling. There is substantial more decaling than I thought. So let me just get. . here we are. Let's pop that over there. So here's the decaling that's got to be done on it. It's not the greatest amount, but there's more than I thought. And then down there, you can see the figures I was on about. There's R2-D2. And then the little decals that go on the helmet. So now then, the interesting thing is I now need to know or remember what I've done with the decals. Right, on first place I'm going to look is the decaling box. Because to me...
What about the box it came in? Have you left it?
No, no, they're not in there. So this is my decaling box. I have a sponge foam over the top of it. And then there's a few scraps of sandpaper on there. I'm hoping that this is it, although I can't figure out what it is. Now then, in true, oh dear. No, there's a clump of dog hair somehow got into the box and stuck on one of the decals.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you have dogs, their hair gets everywhere.
Yeah, so we've got, you can either go with stickers on on Ban-Dai kits, or you can go with decals. I'm going with decals. I'm not a fan of stickers. Although I will say many people have used these decals, these stickers, and said they're very good. They do stick down very well, and afterwards you really can't tell. But I'm gonna, I keep them as spares maybe. I'm gonna go the traditional route and glue them on. That's my decaling box. Look, got my leg stuck. Right. The question is, where do we start? I think the figures.
Start on the bit that you're less likely to touch first.
Well, no.
Always moan that you're getting stuck.
As a rule of thumb, when you're doing something with a lot of decals, do the biggest, hardest ones first.
No, I'm on about the ones that you're going to handle the most. So I'm not going over rule of thumb, I'm going over what you think you're going to bother.
Yeah, I would do the biggest, hardest ones first. So there doesn't appear to be any that are really that difficult. Yeah, so we're going to do the figures first. Let's pop that up there if I can. Oh no, it's not going to sit up. Let me try No. Oh, let's try it there. Put it on there. There we go. Now then, we have a coffee warmer here. And the water is warm. I've had that pre-warming away in the background.
Mr. Mini Dreams.
Oh, hello, David.
Says, what's up, Mark and Angela? Decals.
All right, this is going to be a bit tricky. So I'm going to do the figures, and I'm just going to look which ones I need. So for R2D2, I need 63, 64, 64, 73. There you are. So 73 wraps around the whole top. Probably better off working. Would be better if I can pull him out actually. Yeah. There we go. Now the thing is, you know, if I'd have thought about this, I would have done the ship. There's some big ones on the ship while I'm doing the show. But no, I've gone and picked the finicky ones, the ones that are going to be struggle because they're so small. And they're going to make me look a bit stupid. A bit. $63, 64, so that's 63. We've got two R2D2 figures, so we may as well do them both at the same time. $63, 64, and 73. I know I've got tissue underneath me that's going to get cut, but it just helps absorb the excess water when I'm decaling.
Oh, yeah, I've just made it in.
Hey, Neil. What are you doing, man? You should have, you didn't answer me. All day I've been waiting for your reply.
Oh, bless you.
Right, so we will go in with the top. So this is slightly warm water.
Total scale model says, do you not put down the decals in number order?
No, I don't know. Because basically if you follow the number order, so let's just follow this thought through. So
I tried that, didn't I?
if you follow number order, let's find number 1. So it's okay to begin with because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all in the cockpit, which is great. Then you come to, so you were looking for sort of 9 and 10. Where are they? Where's 9 and 10? I can't see for looking. Oh, there we got 9 there. So 9's on the front side of the nose, but number 10 is just next to the other side on the cockpit. And then you've got to find number 11, which is over this side. And number 12 and 13, they're all sort of in the same region. But then 14 is somewhere completely different. Oh, it's over on the engine. So the problem is, especially when you're for seasoned people that decal all the time, they could probably do it and it wouldn't be an issue. But I speak from my personal experience. When I first started doing this, you're handling it, you're putting your decals on, so you put one there, one there, one there, one there, and then you flip it over and you grab it like that. You're not thinking, and then you hold it like that and you put one there, one there, one there, one there, and then you flip it around again, and then the next thing you know, you look down and your hands are covered in bits of decal they've come off the areas where you've accidentally touched, and it's quite difficult to not touch them when they're all over like that. So what I tend to do is I will look at the model, like the cockpit would get done, and then I will come along and do that top wing or that top section across, and then I will let them dry, because I'm not fast. I'm not in a hurry to get everything built. I just take my time. So I do that, then I let them dry. Then I may do this front section here. I might even do the whole top, let them dry, then come along and do the bottom, let them dry, then I'll do the side like that, and that for me works. It's not everyone's, it's not for everyone.
Say more said too, Mr. Sprue decals all over the place.
So I just find that is the best way. Now we've got
said he has messaged you.
Oh,
family are growing up.
Oh, right.
Well, family drive you mad.
We've got one decal that's on the run. I've had to.
Where to?
It's come off the.
Oh dear. Run away from me.
There we go. Let's just move this.
This is about 5 minutes.
Crikey, what have I done with the? What have I done with R2D2? There he is. So now then, the problem with this is I probably should have cut this before and put a little slit in the decal, because it's gone over the top of R2D2, and because it's circular, and you've got the problem of Yeah. So what I'm going to do is swamp this with microsol and get the process of the decal softening going. Once it's adhered a bit more to the surface, so it's not quite so, you know, at the moment, the slightest little nudge and it's just going to fall away. Let's get it softened. And then once it starts taking, I can probably go in with the scalpel and just put a little nick in the side so that it will help the curvature of the decal. Hindsight, I should have done that first. I don't know if it's possible for me to do that now. Let's take the decal out. There it is. So I'll try on this one if I can. So we'll put a little nick in the hole where that sensor is, and then a little slice on there, and whichever one of these works out the best will be the one that go in the X-wing. Again, come along with some microsol. And pop that down. And I think that probably is going to be this one may be the better one. Because it's already sort of slotting in the general area it needs to be. Not looking great at the moment, but we'll stand that over there. Where's the other one gone? That's there. Let's have a quick look how that's doing. And we get a little brush out, something that we can use to manipulate. Yeah, this one will do. This is a new brush. I didn't pay a lot for it, but it's an Italieri number 2. Let me just get a little bit of water on the end there. Just manipulate that slightly. Yeah, and that's coming together actually surprisingly well. Just got this little tiny edge that won't settle around the side. There we go. Right. Now, given the fragile nature of them two decals, I'm just going to quickly show you. So they were basically, as they come off the decal sheet, they were just one round circular decal. There was no cutouts on it. So obviously there's a problem straight away, because you can see that we've got this little sensor. It's like a little bump. Come on. Which sort of, and my tweezers there, just giving you an example of how small this decal is, and that bump there on the top, and it's struggling to focus. So I've had to go in and cut a little slit in. I mean, when I say cut a little slit, I've literally just had to touch the tip of the knife, because it's a new blade, to the decal, and that's enough just to get that. Now, once that's settled, I will then come back and do the finishing decals for that. I don't want to start adding further decals to the R2D2 heads, because that top one is too fragile at the moment. I'll put them to one side, and they will get finished probably. Well, we'll see how we get on. I may do some in the week. It depends how things go with the other channel, because we're putting a lot of time into that. So what can we do on man here? 72, 71. So we've got right. These are, now there's 3 pairs of visors. There's only 2 characters that I know of. There's not. All right. So we will. One pair will go in our spares box, because I don't throw decals away. You never know when they'll come in handy.
You don't throw anything away.
I don't know. I'm getting pretty close to throwing out the wife.
Ex-wife.
Ex-wife. There we go.
There's no comment to that. Not tonight.
No.
Don't worry, it will come.
Yeah, I know. People misunderstand us. We've been. I know that there's one group in particular that thinks. I'm
very hostile.
Yeah. It's just the nature of. It's just how we are. This is you know how we do things. We have a laugh and a joke, and it doesn't come across as that to everyone. To some people, it looks all too serious. Anybody that knows us will be, know what I'm going on about.
We know how far to push each other.
Yeah.
And we do push each other.
Yeah. Well, you definitely push me, especially when I'm in the wheelchair.
You love me, really? Even when I'm driving you nuts.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to.
So let's get these. Well, they're quite thick. I will say that the decals on here are quite thick, and I don't know. There's a lot of carrier film on them, which is not so much a problem on the big stuff. But on the little pieces, it's a bit of a problem.
Rob said, you don't need to justify yourself to anyone. I said, thank you. Taylor said, push you, idle sod. You got arms?
Yeah. That's Neil, all love and sympathy. He wouldn't make a very good doctor. His bedside manner is atrocious. There we go. So again, because these are quite thick, they're not settling very well to begin with, but the microsole is soon sort of getting to work on them. So I don't know what. Let's get. We'll put these on. Ooh. Hold on a minute, I've forgotten to. Just need to put. There we go. Probably put a bit too much on there. That's a microset that I just put on there. Let me get it the right way around. Hold on a minute. I'll have to double check. I'm always getting them labelled wrong. I don't want to give the wrong advice, so just bear with me a second and I'll check, because they're.
Doesn't matter what advice you get from people, always check what you're doing first.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, especially when you're looking at stuff on YouTube.
Anything.
Don't take what people tell you as gospel, because people do get things wrong. And the problem with things like YouTube is when people hear stuff on YouTube, because they've heard it on YouTube off a self-confessed expert, and let's face it, YouTube is absolutely rammed with people that are experts in the field that have only been doing it for, I don't know, 1 year, 2 year, 5 years. So microset, yeah, I was right, sorry. So microset is the number 1, microsole is the number 2. So you go in with number 1, put a little bit on, then you put your decal on, and then I believe you're supposed to put another dab of micro set on, and then come in with your microsole. You would have to check the instructions, but read them thoroughly. They are a bit misleading in parts. In case anybody wants to, they just they can look back later and pause this screen if it will focus in. Which it's not going to do. And they can read the instructions there. But as with everything, you know, even the instructions, you might not like doing it that way. You might have found a way that works better for you. I'm comfortable in the way that I put these on. I do it slightly differently to the instructions. And I know people will say I'm doing it wrong, but this is the way I do it. And I've, you know, my results are okay with it. I just put the microset on, the decal, then the microsole, and then I just keep coming back every now and then with a little bit more microsole until things settle down. If I've got particular trouble with one, I will come over with a number 3, which is Solver Set, which is a stronger version. It's a stronger decal softener than microsole.
Just don't ask for it at Telford.
Oh yeah, just don't ask for it anyway. It's a bleeding nightmare to get hold of.
Make it look like cracks at Telford when you ask.
Yeah, I went round everywhere looking for it at Telford Solver Set. I was lucky in that an old friend of mine, Sam McCord, sent me this. It's about, I've got about just under half a brush left. But we went to Telford looking for it, and everywhere I asked, no, never heard of it. Which is really strange. I'd spent, 2 years with loads of people that just use Solver Set, and it's pretty much, I considered it like an industry standard because everyone was using it. And we went round, and then finally we found a guy. He said, "Yeah, I've got loads," and I was like, "Wow, well, how many do I get?" And Andrew said, "You better get 2." So I said, "Oh, I'll have 2 then," and he gave me 2 bottles of microsol. And I said, "That's not Solver Set." He said, "Yeah, it is." He said, "Look, microsol." And I said, "No, Solver Set's a completely different brand. I've never heard of that."
Yep, nightmare.
It's unbelievable. It's like going to
Toys R Us and asking for a teddy bear.
yeah, or Quick Fit and asking if they've got Dunlop tires. Oh, never heard of those.
It was certainly an experience, but that one.
Yeah, it was an eye opener. Right, so that's them on, and then we're going to do. So we've got 71 and 69. 67, 65.
Totally scale model said you can get it on eBay.
Yeah, you probably can. I've got a funny feeling. I looked into it and it was really expensive for postage or something, and it was coming from.
Let Mr. Sprue do her magic.
I think, unless I'm mistaken, there is a company in Britain, Airbrush Supplies, everything airbrush, something like that. They do it. You can order it through them. I did find out afterwards. But my point being, a big modelling show, which is supposed to be the biggest in Europe, you would think they would have Solver Set.
Totally scale model says it comes across from the pond.
Yeah.
I like that. Oh,
what did I do with that knife now? Oh, there it is. So 71. We've got. We seem to have enough decals for 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Enough for about 5 figures.
Missing a figure?
No.
Have you misplaced a figure?
No. Let's drop that in there.
I'll give you extras then.
Yeah, it would appear so. It doesn't normally happen. Number 1.
Dr. Sprue said, from over here, I'm from Massachusetts. That's
Oh,
way over the pond.
I didn't know you were from America, Dr. Sprue.
That's way over the pond. I was thinking like Russia or France, not the lake.
Oh, caught the blinking glasses. Just what you've got to be careful of when you're putting these tiny. I don't know if it doesn't appear to be dispensing fluid properly for some reason. The beauty is because that we've got the
Yeah. Yeah, and what?
sorry, I'm just putting these teeny tiny decals on. I don't know if you can see.
No, we just wait
They're,
for the rest of the conversation.
I can't talk while I'm putting them on. There they are. Come on, into focus. There we go. And there's my. So you get an idea. That. So it's like when I pick these up to put them on, once I take them off there, I sort of hold my breath until it's on the figure like that. Like that. And there we go. And now there's just the red stripe to go over the top of the helmet. Let's put this guy's first. Number one. Yeah, sorry, I was saying a minute ago, the beauty of having the coffee warmer is that the decals literally come out the water and you can slide them off almost straight away. They're just perfect, and all because the water's warm. My only advice on the coffee warmer is be very careful. I bought the cheapest one I could, and it's not great. I've known people that have bought them and they've paid around 12 quid and they've come and they get the water so hot that they can't put their finger in because it keeps it that hot. This is a tiny, it's a tiny metal bowl. This is sort of warm, maybe hot, but nothing more than that. But it's barely keeping that lukewarm. So don't skimp when you're buying one of those. Get a decent one. Maybe I should plug it into a powered USB unit instead of running it off the computer. Maybe that's why it's not warming up very much. Right. You know what? I think I'm going to leave it there. I didn't realise that was the time. It's been a good show tonight. Well, I think so anyway. Time's flown by. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there. I don't think there's anything else I can really add to tonight. Thanks for watching.
We will put up on Tuesday an announcement as to whether I have got far enough on Wednesday for you to be able to do a live show. I hope to. Can't promise anything, but I will try.
Yeah. And again, just one more plug for our new channel, Misfits Plus One. Please go along, fill in the quick questions to join. Then they're nothing taxing. It's just what how did you find out about us, that sort of thing. And then it gets reviewed, and normally people get approved sometimes within seconds. So please take a look. Go and have a look. You've got nothing to lose by joining, and everything to gain. So thanks for watching. I hope to see you next week. If not, it'll be the week after. Maybe I can drag Neil in onto another one, and we'll see you then. So bye for now.
Bye.